Hello and welcome back to the Movie Memo Recaps. Today we are going to recap a 2006 movie titled The Marine. Please be advised that there will be spoilers ahead. The movie begins in an Al-Qaeda stronghold in Iraq, where fanatical militants are planning to murder some hostages. Marine John Triton arrives on the scene and begins a firefight with the terrorists, despite the fact that his commander stopped him from engaging and wait for backup. Forced to engage in a hand-to-hand battle, John quickly eliminates the whole terrorist presence and frees the captives. Despite his heroic acts, John is given an honorable discharge from the military. He arrives home by plane, where his wife, Kate, greets him joyfully. She is overjoyed to have him back and looks forward to spending more time with him. However, John becomes dissatisfied with his home life and seeks a job as a security guard. The next day, a criminal named Rome visits a jewelry store. When he enters, his fellow gang members are already present. He pretended to inspect the valuables before brutally incapacitating the security officers. Bennett, his comrade, brandished his weapons and ordered everyone to get down. Given that the rear glass is bulletproof, Rome snatches a woman and threatens to kill her if the manager does not unlock the door. The manager agrees, and the lady draws a gun, revealing herself to be Angela, another gang member and Rome's partner. Rome goes to the back of the store and instructs the manager to load a bag with diamonds. As Rome departs, the manager yells at him, imploring him to attack him in order to make the incident appear realistic. Instead, Rome shoots him dead. The crew quickly escapes, with Rome firing a hail of rounds from a machine gun at the incoming police force. Morgan, another gang member, destroys a police car just as they are ready to flee. Following the crime, police investigate the scene and suspect an inside job by a store employee. John begins his new job as a security officer at a huge firm, working shifts alongside his colleague, Joe. A wealthy man with 2 bodyguards enters the office, signs in, and quickly goes upstairs. Joe enjoys his job, while John finds it dull. Joe extols the benefits, income, and light labor requirements, encouraging John to relax. They receive a call regarding a disturbance on the 12th floor. Only the presence of John and Joe prevents the wealthy man from verbally and physically abusing his ex-girlfriend on the 12th floor. When he attempts to offend Joe, John steps in, leading him to the ground floor and directing him to leave. As his bodyguards close in, the wealthy man regains his bravery, provoking John into a violent altercation. Before flinging the victim through a glass, John disables the 2 bodyguards. John's activities lead to his termination, while Joe gets suspended. Afterwards, the two have a deep talk. Joe tells John to accept change as a normal part of life and enjoy his return home. Inspired, John chooses to focus on improving his mood and making the most of his time with his wife, Kate. Rome and Angela have returned to their hotel room, where Angela is upset by the day's events in the jewelry store. Rome confesses to killing the manager because he disclosed his true identity, but everything else went as planned. Meanwhile, Joe shuffles John home, attempting to downplay the office incident, until they see a news report about a security guard's outburst, which shows a video of John flinging the man through the glass. John apologizes for the incident, but Kate implies that he returned to work hastily. She proposes that they go on a road trip together, and he agrees. The next day, they're on the road, excited about their journey, when John realizes they need to refuel. They arrive at a petrol station, where Rome and his team are also filling up. John goes inside to get some munchies and crosses paths with Angela and Bennett. The appearance of a police vehicle at the station raises concerns among Rome's gang. Morgan shoots the young officer in the head as he is having a small conversation with Rome. Rome shoots down the other cop as he attempts to flee. Hearing the pandemonium, John rushes back to Kate, but Bennett knocks him out. Angela adds to the total by shooting the cashier as the group departs. They kidnap Kate from her car, and Rome decides to hold her hostage. They immediately leave, just as John begins to regain consciousness. Morgan fires a shot into the gas station, causing a large explosion and knocking John back. He witnesses the gang's car driving away with Kate. He rushes to the injured officer's car, narrowly dodging another explosion, and assists the surviving cop out. John gets in the car, desperate to save his wife. He radios the cops, notifying them about the wounded officers and the hostage scenario, then drives the car to its limits in pursuit. Angela, in the getaway car, goes through Kate's stuff and discovers she is married to a Marine. Bennett and Morgan ignore the importance, unleashing a barrage of shots into John's pursuit car. Rome then tries to force John's car off the road, but John's determination keeps him on their tail. They push him off the road, tearing off his car's roof, but he doesn't stop. Rome and his group blind John with gunfire, leading him to drive off a cliff, and they explode his car. Kate yells at the group that arrives to assess the debris. Angela threatens Kate with a gun, but Rome intervenes, stating that Kate is their lifeline. Their vehicle is a write-off, and Vassara chastises Morgan for his reckless gunshots, sparking a brawl. Rome calms them down, and they decide to go across a swamp to their destination, where they intend to trade the stolen gems for money. Detective Van Buren arrives at the petrol station to investigate the crime and learns about John's radio transmission. When Van Buren gets a call concerning a car accident, he rushes to the scene, only to find the vehicle unoccupied. Suddenly, John appears from the swamp. He informs the detective about his kidnapped wife, and despite Van Buren's advice against pursuing it, John ignores it, announcing his determination. John is cautious of the dangerous criminals he's pursuing, but he's desperate to save Kate. As the gang moves through the swamp, Kate begins to protest, but Bennett restrains her. The tiredness from the swamp excursion produces friction between Morgan and Vassara, resulting in another spat. In a startling change of events, Rome shoots Vassara, destroying him for no apparent reason. Law enforcement units comb the marshland from above and below, looking for the gang. John arrives at the site of Vassara's murder, retrieves his knife, and continues his pursuit. Rome receives a call from the contact who is anticipating the stolen jewels, but he chooses to betray the man by keeping the gems for himself, therefore rendering all of their actions futile. Concurrently, John is using his exceptional tracking talents to keep on their trail and is closing in quickly. He approaches a clearing in the woodland, sensing impending peril. A trap lunges John, but he quickly frees himself. A man then holds a gun at John and accuses him of being a law enforcement officer. As he tries to explain his goal to save his wife, another man knocks him out. John awakens in a shed, strapped to a chair and surrounded by two burly men frantically stowing their cash. They presume police enforcement is on their tails and proceed to beat up John, unconvinced of his story. Seeing no other option, John deceives them by impersonating a GPS-tracked police officer. This sends the men into a frenzy, and in the resulting turmoil, John incapacitates one of them and escapes his bonds. A furious altercation breaks out, with both men viciously throwing each other around. During the chaos, John loses sight of Rome and his wife. However, he perseveres and eventually retraces their steps. He arrives at a riverside and observes Rome, his crew, and Kate entering an abandoned cottage in the marsh, which the gang intends to use as a nighttime hiding. Kate's bindings are gradually loosening as the men look for a generator. Morgan heads below to begin work on the generator. Just as he begins, John charges at him like a raging bull. Morgan smashes a bottle over John's head as they exchange fierce blows. Despite this, John kills Morgan with a knife before he can cause more harm. Rome ultimately emerges and contacts a buddy, begging that a car be stationed at a marina so that he can flee quickly. Bennett steps out to launch the boat for their departure. John seizes the opportunity to ambush Bennett, and a brawl follows, but John's strength defeats Bennett and kills him. Detective Van Buren approaches John and indicates his willingness to charge the pursuit now that John has completed most of the foundation. The detective eventually yields, allowing John to complete his task. When the lights in the lodge fail, Kate seizes the opportunity to flee. Angela chases and corners Kate, resulting in a brawl until Angela brandishes a gun. John storms into the lodge, only to see Rome point a gun at him. Van Buren jumps in, pointing his own gun at Rome's head, and demands that he lowers his weapon. Van Buren, on the other hand, abruptly turns his weapon on John, indicating his covert allegiance with Rome. He demands the stolen gems from Rome, who then instructs the detective to murder John in exchange for half of the diamonds. When Van Buren hesitates, John rushes forward, using him as a human shield as Rome shoots on them. Rome's retreat forces John to follow suit. With only John left, Rome shoots the gas cylinders beneath the lodge before departing with Kate. However, John escapes before the lodge collapses. Rome shoves Kate into the trunk of Van Buren's car, and they flee. When the Coast Guard tries to catch John and take him out of the water, he turns the tables by seizing a gun and a boat. Rome thinks they need to abandon Van Buren's car, so he sends Angela to flag down a semi-truck on the road, using her attraction to get near enough to the driver to murder him. Once on the police boat, John hears a radio report about the slain truck driver and the location of the stolen truck. By nightfall, John arrives at the marina. He overhears Rome's chat and sees the truck. Kate notices him and creates a distraction, allowing John to approach the vehicle silently and hop upon it. After John tosses Angela out of the moving truck, a bus strikes her fatally. Rome attempts to shoot John, but Kate intervenes and knocks the gun away. Rome attempts to dislodge John off the truck by driving through multiple shacks, but John withstands the strikes before being flung off. The truck crashes into a building, causing a big explosion, and Rome abandons it, leaving Kate trapped inside. John sprints after the crashing vehicle, which smashes through a building and ends up in the river. Rome ambushes John, and a brawl begins. John then dives into the river to find his wife. He swims back to the truck, only to discover Kate unconscious and bound. He rapidly frees her and drags her to the surface, urgently attempting to rescue her. To his relief, Kate begins coughing while in his arms. Rome suddenly assaults John with a chain, but John counterattacks, tossing Rome and shattering his neck in mid-air, killing him instantly. The couple ultimately embraces and kisses just as the cops arrive on the scene. Thanks for watching. If you are new, don't forget to subscribe for more of these recaps. Until next time, have a nice day.